So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday from Sight and Sound Technology. Great to be back again for another month of technical discussion. My name is Stuart Lawler. Today we are having one of our very popular tech surgeries where you set the agenda and the members of our very hard-working tech support team will do their best to put them to rights. And we're absolutely delighted to have two of our colleagues with us from tech support today. We have our tech support manager, and that is Ash Cross. And we have one of our senior tech support officers, Tristram Llewellyn, who are hugely experienced tech support people. They've been working with Sight and Sound for a long time, and they have a lot of knowledge. So we're looking forward to your questions, Ash and Tristram. Thank you so much for joining us today. We also have, and a very welcome back to Sharon Lyons, who is from Sight
Hi.
and Sound Technology here in Ireland. Hi, Sharon. And Sharon's going to be keeping an eye on chat, and I'm sure might be helping to answer questions as well as we go along. And speaking of asking questions, if you'd like to do that, you can raise your virtual hand by pressing Alt and Y if you're on Windows, Option and Y if you're on a Mac, or activating the raise hand button. If you're on a mobile app, you can find the raise hand button on your app of choice, usually under the more options area. And similarly, if you'd like to put something in chat, it's Alt and H for chat on Windows. It's Option and H for chat on Mac, or again, you can activate the chat button on your mobile app of choice. Now, so first of all, Ash and Tristram, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us, guys. Great to have you back.
Yeah,
Um, we did get some questions in by email in advance of the session, and Tristram, I think you were one of them relates to the drag and drop command in JAWS, and when I saw that, it brought back memories of a long time ago. We so what does the drag and drop command allow you to do, and is it still useful, do you think?
Well, start with the first part of the question. The drag and drop feature will let you do what a sighted person would normally do with a mouse, where they literally find an object on the screen and they hold the left mouse button down and they move the mouse physically to another location on the screen and then let go of the mouse button. And that's the act of dragging and dropping. And quite a few years back, JAWS uh, gained this particular facility to allow you to do exactly the same. Um, it's been a long time since I've had any cause to use drag and drop because there's not always usually a better way to do it directly from the keyboard. But it also does have some limitations with the drag and drop. The most important of which is that the location where you're starting from and where you want to drag the object to, they both have to be visible on the screen at the same time. So that automatically rules out you being able to drag something from one window and then maybe be able to drop it into a window behind the one that you're currently looking at. That won't work. So that there are only a certain class of sort of situations where it tends to work. And I think, judging by the question that we got, I think the user was having some of the same sort of problem. So it sort of depends a little bit on what they're trying to do, how well it will work. And to some extent, it's one of those features that is in the dark corners of yours, which hasn't really seen much development in recent years. So how well it works is a little bit of a lottery, I'd say.
Okay, so try it out and see. And I think that was Julie who asked the question. I just see Julie is online. So maybe Julie, you could try it out. I just looked at the keystroke before we came on air, but I haven't had time to test it yet. So might be worth giving it a go. Um,
Chris, you mentioned that you had you avoid using the drag and drop feature because you feel there are better
Yeah,
ways.
I always
What
think,
would
I
you
yeah.
do?
mean, yeah. So if you can find a way to copy the object from one window into the buffer, and then you can go find the place where you need to drop it, if you can, if the PC cursor will let you go to that location, do the Control V, do it there,
Oh yeah,
for
like a cut and
example.
paste or something.
That's what I would, yeah, I'd always try doing it that way around if you can. It's not always possible, but generally
Yeah,
speaking, that will be more reliable than a drag and drop is going to be, I think.
that makes sense.
Okay, thanks for that, Tris. And we got another question from somebody who was asking about himself and his sighted partners have two different laptops, and they noticed recently that the settings on their Microsoft Outlook were different on each device. And he was curious to know how to maybe reset Outlook. And I suppose Outlook is an interesting conversation at the moment because there are, just to complicate things even more, there are two versions of it, right?
Yes, unfortunately, that's correct. Microsoft have a new Outlook, which they call Outlook, which it's new, which is being popped onto people's machines without necessarily you knowing. And there is the old Outlook that everybody knows, which came with Microsoft Office, which is now dubbed Outlook Classic. So you will often find, particularly with those people who've got Microsoft Office 365 installations, they will have two copies of Outlook. One is Outlook Classic and one is Outlook New. So you might want to see if you're having a problem, maybe which Outlook you're actually starting or getting into, or whether there is an Outlook New on the system. So you can just pop up the Start menu and just type the word Outlook, and hopefully the search will do its thing. And then you can use the courtesy to find out whether you've got one Outlook or whether you've got two. Because the problem with the Outlook being different on one or other of machines might just be because one of you's got Outlook New or is using Outlook New and the other one is using Outlook Classic. So, but that's the bit that's complicated. So it's probably worth just digging into that as that sort of goes, really. If you do find that you're both using Outlook Classic, there is a way to reset the view in Outlook Classic. And you can do that. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Is if you press Windows key and letter R to open up the run command, and then you'll get a little edit box that pops up. And if you type the word Outlook, Outlook, and a full stop, and the letters EXE, and a space, and a forward slash, and then the word clean view, CLEANVIEWS. And then if you press enter on that, that will launch Outlook, but in a reset state where all of its settings have gone back to, its display settings have gone back to its default. So you only want to do that if you know you've got the Outlook Classic.
Brilliant. And Ash has just put that command in the chat as well. So if anyone wants to grab that, it's in the chat. Tris, just I suppose the new Outlook feels much more kind of web-based, I suppose.
Yeah, but what Microsoft are trying to do is they're trying to use one front end across all different sort of platforms. So they want to use the same interface for the program that you download and manage your mail, potentially offline, whatever. And the one that you can go to on the web, if you type in www.outlook.com, they're using the same interface for all of that to sort of unify it. And I suppose from their development point of view, that makes it easier for them to work with because they can use the same interface and reuse it all the way across. The only problem is that, of course, they're starting again from scratch. And that means that all the things that we've become used to in the regular Outlook that we've known and loved and occasionally struggled with, those things are sort of going away because they're starting from effectively a blank slate. But that does mean that what we always need isn't always where we expect it to be, and that's part of the problem really.
Yeah.
Still worse. So unfortunately, we're finding that people are having their old Outlook Classic taken away from them, and that being replaced with the new Outlook. And the first you know of it is you think, oh crikey, in the morning, everything's not where it's supposed to be. What's going on here? Kind of scenario. And I think that is going to be a fairly frequent scenario for people.
I tried to have a go at it, Trace. I was telling you there before we came on air a few minutes ago. I tried to have a go with it a few weeks ago, and the message navigation was okay, but once I started to go to the calendar to look for something, it just couldn't do it at all. So I'm conscious,
Yeah.
as we say, these things are being updated all the time. So by the time people listen to this, it may have changed. Um, okay, let's go to our first questioner. I do want to talk to Ash about AI in a few minutes because I know it's one of the things, the changes that have been made to some of the technical support services and the way in which you can engage with tech support. We will come back and talk about that. But we have a raised hand from Kevin Garwood. So Kevin, I'm going to invite you to unmute yourself, and hopefully we can hear your question. So you might just have to respond to the unmute request.
Audio now unmuted alert. Lower hand button.
Hiya, Kevin. We can hear you.
Hello, yes.
How are you?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, I have a Smart Vision 3 phone, which I have to say I'm delighted with because it's the only smartphone I've ever been able to fully utilize. And it runs apps like Be My Eyes and Vision really well. I have found, though, that there are a couple of apps, the Ally app and the Meta app with the glasses, seem to have conflicts with the phone and don't run very well. And I just wondered, is that something you've come across with the Smart Vision 3, even though it's an Android phone, that some things don't run well on it?
Anybody want to take that?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because the Smart Vision, if I'm not mistaken, Tris might be able to confirm, but it's an older version of Android. It's not like the latest version of Android, so there can be some issues that arise from that because the app developer, whether it be Meta or Ally, they might make it with the latest Android version in mind. So I've known that to cause some issues with certain apps in the past.
Okay, I mean, certainly with the Meta app, it says it wants version 11, I think it's 11 or higher, or 10 or higher. And I think it's 11 on the Smart Vision 3. So, and it loads and installs and runs well. It's just that when you ask a question, for example, on the Meta app through the glasses, the voice that comes back is all distorted. And I can't find anything in the settings that would cause or fix that.
Like, yeah, that's probably something we'd want to maybe test, as it's unique to the app by the sounds of it.
Yes.
So I'd probably welcome you to. Have you got access to email, Kevin?
Yes.
If you could drop us an email at our support@sightandsound.co.uk email, that will raise a ticket, and we would then look at testing it on our side. And we can see if we can recreate it for one. And if we can, then we can go and speak to Capsys, the developers of the phone, and see if it's like an issue they can resolve. We'll look into it that way.
Okay, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks for your question, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Ash, just when you mentioned contacting tech support there, and one of the things I did want to maybe chat to you about was because you have, I think since the last tech surgery, there have been some changes in how people can get in touch with you guys. You have WhatsApp, you're using AI. It sounds like you're always, looking at how to improve the experience for customers.
Definitely, yeah. We try to open up more channels, like methods in which customers can contact us first of all. Like WhatsApp, people can now chat to us on WhatsApp. Got like the live chat that's been a thing for a few years now, but yeah, WhatsApp's new. And yeah, like you mentioned, we utilize AI now, so we've got our own knowledge base that we've pulled over the last many years, and just known issues, things like that, known solutions. We've linked that into our ticket system, so we can potentially provide you with answers more quickly, more accurately, and also enables customers to self-help as well. So maybe it's out of hours, or you'd rather just find out for yourself. You can go to our website on the support page. There's a support link on there, and that will take you to our knowledge base. So that will give you access to all of that. So if you had a specific issue, you just type it into the search, and then that will use AI to find a potential solution in our knowledge base, potentially giving you the answer.
And that's really good, isn't it? Because sometimes people might be surprised. You might be surprised at what's in there, or what somebody might have asked already. And that question that you're struggling with on a Saturday evening, or some problem, you might find a solution to by putting in a search.
Definitely, yeah. It could just be to you, it might just seem like a random error message, like error 106 or something. You're trying to activate a product, but then turns out that's in our knowledge base. If you typed in, I'm getting error code 106, whatever it is, it will give you a solution to it. So definitely worth checking if you can.
Okay, brilliant, and great to see new ways in which people can contact tech support as well. It's just a reminder, if anybody wants to ask a question in our tech surgery, it's your time to bring queries to Ash and Tristram. Alt and Y, or press the raise hand button on your mobile device if you're joining us on a mobile device. And you can do the same with chat, Alt and H, or press the chat button. And we'll go to Sharon in a few minutes and see how chat is going. But we do have some raised hands. So I'm going to go to Sandy Tompkins first, and then we'll go to Harry Mead. So Sandy, you should be able to unmute yourself. And we would, hi Sandy.
Am I on?
You are.
Oh God, right. It's always this mad dash to find that unmute.
It is, yeah.
It is getting better though, it is. My main question is this. I'm using the Envision Ally app on my phone. So I'm not using the glasses with it. And I have to say, it's extremely good. And sometimes I get some very good answers that I'd like to keep. And for example, if I'm using the talk to option rather than the typed in chat. So if I'm using talk to, and I may have been given an answer like I was given a full list of English irregular verbs because I had to teach them in a lesson this morning. And I said, right, so now how can I copy this? Because it's not visible on the screen because it's a chat, you're talking. So there's no text. And the Ally said it could make a transcript, so I asked him to do that. But then I couldn't find the transcript anywhere to copy so that I could then paste it into a notes app. So I tried it on the chat, which is the typing option. And every time I tried to copy the answer, I could only copy about 2 lines at a time. And then it said done with Ally. And you put it in the notes and then you have to go back. You might have to do that 100 times. It's just not doable. I wondered if anyone knows how you can export some very good answers from the Envision Ally into something like notes. This is just using my phone, by the way, no other computer.
I've not had any experience with the Envision Ally app myself. Might be something we would need to actually explore and use the app for ourselves. Possibly one worth taking offline. Like I can give you my email address. I can pop it in the chat and you can send me that query and I'll, personally download the app and have a little play with it to see if I can recreate it or give you a solution maybe. I would need to test it in short. I've just not used the app.
Yeah. Is that an iPhone or is it an Android app that
iPhone.
you're using?
iPhone
app.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On the iOS store, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually it's one of the best in terms of sensible information and searching the web for stuff. And it's actually really very good. But as I say, I can't export the information and it will be very useful.
Just put my email in the chat. Maybe just pop me an email with that query, Sandy.
Okay.
And then I'll get on that.
All right. And I've got one more quick one. I've just turned on for the first time in 2 years my Orbit, the original 20 reader. It's not a 20 plus. And surprisingly, the battery was still going after 2 years. I hadn't done anything to it. It's very good. However, all I see on the screen is remote Bluetooth. And my phone does say it is connected. But I'm not kind of getting beyond that. And what I've noticed is in voiceover settings, there used to be a thing for Braille keyboards, and you had something like HID or something, HID. It was a different sort of protocol from the usual Bluetooth, and that seems to have disappeared. So I'm just wondering, because I've not updated the thing, and I don't really want to because it's awful to update, if anyone has any quick ideas about how I can make it mirror what's on my phone.
It sounds like the connection between the iPhone and the Orbit has gone bust somehow for some reason.
It says connected on the iPhone.
Yeah, I've heard that from some other users, and then they can't connect back into the phone for whatever reason. It doesn't regain the connection.
Mm.
The only suggestion I think I might try it's a little bit of a bit round the houses sort of way of doing it, but I think the best thing to do is just make sure you've got a note of all of your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections that you want to make, and then you would do a network settings reset on the iPhone. That should clear up. Because the other thing about the iPhone is it will tend to retain iffy connection data, and I think that's probably what's gone on. So I think what you might need to do is reset the network connections. Yeah. And then you'll have to remake your connections, but in the process of that, you'll probably be doing that with the Orbit again, and that will probably fix it.
I was thinking the same thing, to be fair. Like the network reset settings, it will just, like Trish said, you'll only lose the the Wi-Fi networks and the Bluetooth
and the Wi-Fi. So as long as you've got those details.
The Focus Braille display had similar issues. Like from time to time, you'd have to do what Trish said, and then you'd be able to connect it. If you didn't want to go to that extreme, you could also just try simply turning Bluetooth off and on. So it kind of resets the Bluetooth. You've done that, okay?
I've done that, and I've done the resets. The simple stop closing it down and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
I can do a reset. I'll have to find the code. Okay. And one last point with regard to AI, whether it's on the glasses or on the phone, I've noticed certain things trigger the different AIs into talking a different language. They're still speaking English, but they do it like the Inspector Clouseau from Pink Panther. They suddenly go very French. And my mod does. Whenever I say, look at the QR code, he goes, I cannot do it right now. and the Envision Ally goes Italian. But it's speaking English, but you might think, that's distorted. It's not. They're just weird. They just do that. So
yeah, in VoiceOver, it's probably the same as it is in JAWS, but it picked up a language code somewhere along the way in the underlying screen that it's reading.
Yeah.
And that told it to switch to synthesizer, but it's using speak. So as you say, it will speak the English text, but with the French synthesizer. So yeah, that's why it does it. JAWS does the same thing on web pages, so that's probably the same cause that's going on the iPhone with VoiceOver.
I think you should take over with the voices, Sandy. Your accent was very good.
Yeah, you should.
I know. You should see my Italian. It's really good. So thank you very much. Anyway,
Sandy, one thing I was just going to come in on the Braille display thing, the Orbit. Was that is it when you unlock the iPhone, and are you getting any Braille on the device at all?
Yes. I mean, I've tried. I seem to remember that you had to preferably turn on the Orbit first.
Yes.
Before you turn on the iPhone. So I've done that, and I hit the central select and the right hand thing on the joystick, which takes it says Bluetooth, remote Bluetooth.
Yeah.
But and on the phone, if I look in the phone, it does say Orbit reader connected. And I did have this before. I do remember it. I just cannot remember how I got out of it, so that it would actually start seeing what's on the phone. Because I don't think you have to do anything to the Orbit. It kind of jumps into reflecting. You know what I mean?
I have seen this too, just like the guys have. And it's definitely an Apple, but because I have the same with a Focus display.
Right.
And what I do, but this may or may not work, is turn VoiceOver off. So do the 3 clicks of your side button.
Yeah.
For a couple of seconds, 3 clicks again, turn it on, and it should refresh the pairing because if VoiceOver is saying it's connected to something there. The newer HID displays that you were talking about, and the new Braille pen that we'll have shortly is an example of those. The HumanWare Brailliant is also one. They don't have that problem because they connect not through VoiceOver, they connect directly as a Bluetooth device. So,
that would be much better, yeah. I imagine mine's never going to do that because it is the original, and I'm not going to update it because I can't stand it.
Orbit don't have HID, and the other big advantage to HID Bluetooth is that you can unlock the phone from the Braille display, so you never have to touch the phone. You could have the phone in your bag and do everything from the Braille display. So that is going to make it easier. But I think if you switch off VoiceOver and try that might work as a start, and then do what the lads suggest. And
then I'll hit it with the hammer. As the final. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sandy.
Okay.
Take care. Bye. Okay. So thanks for that, guys. It was interesting to get the kind of queries on, when bits of tech don't function and you turn something on after ages and it doesn't function and all these crazy things. Alton Y, if you want to raise your hand, and Alton H, if you'd like to chat. We did have a hand from Harry, but Harry's put his hand down. Harry, if you did have a question or you want to ask it, please feel free to put your hand up. Sharon, is there anything in chat that you want to bring to our attention?
Yes. Oh, Harry just put his hand off. Yes, Julie was saying that she went to find Ally app on her iPhone and nearly ended up purchasing a weird dating app.
Oh gosh.
And what
Yeah,
she should
the
type
app
in the app store.
store search is horrible. Yeah, like on the iPhone
Yeah,
at least. Anyway, it's not very good at
I
all.
I put Ally like ALLY and then Envision because it's
Right.
in Envisions, and that brought me. That was the first choice. So
Okay.
that might be a safe bet.
Yeah, I did the same.
About the
I've got iPhone, but on my Android, I did the same. Just put Envision at the end, and it came up with it, narrowed it down.
yeah, sorry, does it work on the iPhone or
I'll have a look.
Of course it works. Everything works on iPhone, Sharon.
okay. Don't go there. And also Julie had the question about the drag and drop, didn't she?
Yes.
Yes, and she said she was, which makes sense, she was doing an interactive quiz for a cyber security course. So it's probably one of those questions where you have to drag and drop the
I
answers
know
or
the sort
match
of thing.
them.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
It's really
So
interesting. Yeah.
that would definitely all be on the same screen, you would hope.
Yeah, they should be visible at the same time, so they should pass the test as far as that's concerned. But
Yeah.
I haven't tried drag and drop for ages because there are just a limited number of situations in which it really worked. So yeah.
I mean, I'd be saying that course is not accessible, basically, but because that would be a very visual thing to have to do.
I assume they're in like a
Yeah.
supported web browser like Chrome or Edge. It might be worth maybe
Assume
also
so.
being up to date on JAWS, because I think there were some issues with older versions of JAWS in Chrome and Edge, so that's another thing. So as long as they're on like JAWS 2025 and it's in Chrome or Edge, and that's assuming Julie knows the command to do the drag and drop. I think it's Control JAWS key and numpad / to initiate it, and then I think you just do the same again to then move it, drop it. I think you have to have the cursor routed to PC. The numpad minus, I think. Could be wrong there. I think you have to do it because then you have to move over to then drag and drop it, if you know what I mean. So I would think you'd have to have it routed to PC. But it sounds like she knows how that. He just said, does it still work? So I imagine she knows the instructions.
I guess maximize the window.
Yeah, maybe maximizing.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps, Julie. And that's all in the chat for now.
Thanks, Sharon. Okay. Harry's patiently with his hand raised. So Harry, you should be able to unmute. There we go.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm sorry, I'm struggling with a weak internet connection today, so I have dropped off a couple of times, which is why I think my hand got lowered. I'm running JAWS 2025 and Microsoft 365. Sometimes when I open an email, nothing happens. It almost just freezes. And then after, if I just sit back and relax for a moment or 3 or 4 or 5, it'll then start reading the email. Any thoughts on what that could be happening there?
We know JAWS can have problems with a lot of tables, especially where they're nested. It can sort of knock the feature out for anything from a few seconds to maybe a minute or two, depending on the message itself. It might be, if you got like an official email from a company, it's got lots of formatting in it. That might be what it is.
Almost always that sort of email.
Right. I would guess that's probably what it is. I mean, Freedom Scientific do try to help with those sort of situations, but I think there's some emails out there that have just got so much in the way of tables nested within each other, but it's got to work its way all the way through that before it can
That's
actually.
clear. That's clear.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. That's fine. Could I pick up on something you said earlier about this new Outlook? Is there any way of not going to new Outlook? Because that sounds like a complete nightmare.
That's a very good question. I have a few registry hacks, but I haven't tried them to see whether it actually works or not. And it's very much in the sort of like, well, some people have tried this and it may not work. I wouldn't like to say for certain, but there are sort of countermeasures floating around the internet that people are trying at this moment to see whether they can stop Microsoft from messing with Outlook.
Okay,
But
that
jury's
sounds
out
like
on that
a
one.
work in progress, possibly.
Yeah, yeah.
My
I think we
last-
normally have access to both, though. Like, unless I'm wrong, but on my PC at
okay.
least, like you generally have both of them installed and available. So
Well, I've
if
only
you
got the
search
classic
for-
at the moment, so I'm hoping it
Yeah,
stays with that.
Yeah,
okay.
the situation is that Microsoft are actually removing the old classic Outlook, which is the real bugbear at the moment, because it's fine if you've got both of them, so long as you know which one you need, but that would be all right. That would be problem sorted. But Microsoft are literally taking away Outlook Classic out of people's hands, and that's the real problem. And they seem determined to do that.
Okay. No, well, that's really helpful to know. Well, if you do come across a hack, maybe there could be a message sent out, because I think I won't be alone in wanting to keep with Classic.
Yeah, if there comes a solution that's kind of reasonably safe for people to apply, then we will try and make that available via the knowledge base so that people can avail themselves of that, maybe.
That would be fantastic. I have a real ignorant question now. People are talking about dropping stuff into the chat. I've always been a bit shy of using chat because I don't know how to recuperate stuff using JAWS from the chat. Do I just open it and then do what? Control and A to block everything and copy it?
So if you're writing something already, you can obviously do Control A, that will highlight everything. You can do Control C, and I think
if the stuff in there. I mean, even if I've not written anything in there, Stuart was saying he was going to put in the instructions you put up earlier.
Yeah, I think you're referring to the chat history, Harry, to be able
Yes.
to. Yeah, so it always feels a bit clunky in Zoom, and sometimes they change it, but generally, when you go into chat and you're on the edit box where you would put your message, if you shift and tab, you should see a list of messages with the most, and they wrap. So if you down arrow past the most recent message, you'll go to the oldest message, and you can keep scrolling. Copying them, I'm not sure. I think the way I would do that is using something like the JAWS history, which is sort of keeps a history of everything that JAWS says in the speech buffer, as they call it. So that's space bar with JAWS, keep it space bar followed by H, but there may be an easier way to copy Zoom chat info that I'm not aware of. So if anyone
maybe it's
knows,
not such a dumb question after all.
no, it's a great question because it keeps changing. So it's a very useful question. So thanks for your questions, Harry.
No, pleasure. Move on.
Good to talk to you. Take
And
care.
you. Keep well.
Thanks, Emil. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah, interesting questions. And sometimes with applications like Zoom and Teams and a lot of online applications which are being updated, things can suddenly change at very short notice. We have Kevin has put his hand up again. So Kevin, I'm going to invite you to unmute, and you're welcome to ask your question.
Lower hand from a Kirby to everyone. Greetings to you.
Hello.
Hi, Kevin.
Hiya. I'm just something I've noticed actually listening to a lot of the problem people are having with Microsoft Office products and also with Outlook and things. For my email client, I use Mozilla Thunderbird and I have no troubles at all. And for my word processing, I use Jart, which is all right. It doesn't have all the the advanced functions and of Word, but for doing general word processing stuff, it was perfectly all right.
So sorry, Kevin. You use Thunderbird. I know a lot of people use Thunderbird. What's Jart? Is it?
Jart. It's Jarte. It's a word processing program. It's completely free. It works very well with the screen reader. In fact, it has a special screen reader mode. As you install it, it detects if you've got a screen reader and goes into screen reader mode. And what it does, it gets rid of all the bars and things that you can use with the mouse. And so you use everything on the menus. And I say it doesn't have some of the formatting functions of Office, some of the advanced stuff. But for doing general word processing work and spell checking and obviously a lot of the formatting and things, simple formatting, centering and things like that, which a lot of people, what some people only want is to do things like that, doing memos and for doing reports and things like that. I find it works really well, and it's completely compatible with the Word document formats.
Wow, sounds incredible. I
Sounds
had
like
not
a good
heard of
tip.
that. Yeah.
The name rings a bell somewhere along the way, but I can't remember for when. But yeah, I mean, if all you need to do is keep up with your home email, or you just need to write the occasional letter to somebody, then obviously
Yeah,
you don't need the full weight of Microsoft Office on you necessarily. So yeah, if
you
it
don't,
works,
and
do
both
it.
programs are completely free.
Yeah, do it.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Kevin, and thanks for the information. Definitely one worth checking out.
Adult to everyone. Somewhat like the gingerbread which got eaten.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay, so anybody again wants to raise your hand, Alt and Y, or Option and Y if you're on Mac, or finding the raise hand button on your app of choice. And again, you can do the same with chat, Alt and H, Option and H, or activating the chat button on your app of choice. Ash, I know we always ask this question, but it's worth maybe just to remind people again, when people phone in to your service looking for tech support, there's a few things they can do to really help you guys, give them the information they need or the help they need as quick as possible, can't they?
Yeah, other than the obvious like name, then serial number for the product always helps, especially if it's a JAWS or Zoom text or whatever. That will always help. If you've got an ongoing query, then ticket number would also be really useful, which is usually in the email chain. There'll be a ticket number in there, so that's the hashtag. Yes.
Okay. So just having the information available will make that a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to go to some more raised hands. We have a few. We have Terry Ann from the US, who is 5 or 6 hours earlier in the morning. So Terry, you should be able to unmute yourself. Oh, actually, hang on. I think we have you.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Or
Terry.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm 6 hours behind you all. A problem that I've just encountered, and I thought, well, this is a great place to maybe ask the question, both in JAWS and in on my Windows laptop using JAWS 2025 and Windows 11, as well as on my phone. I'm trying to access a link, which I can do. I can it came in through it's not it wasn't originally an Audible link. It came in as though it were going to be a written link, but it's not. It's somebody's recital, and I can get it to play, except that I can't hear it, even though it says that my sound audio is at 100%. And it is playing because I can see the time advancing, but in either case, I don't hear it, and I don't know what the problem might be there. I do know somebody else who was able to play it, and I don't know that she was using JAWS or VoiceOver. I think she might have been using NVDA. But anyway, I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about it.
Is that a link come through email, do you mean?
I'm sorry.
The link that you're referring to, did that come through by email?
Well, what I did was it actually came through a program called Smarter Select. So I pasted the email, the link into an email and sent it to myself. And so I can, access it and it'll show that it's playing. I just still can't hear it.
Yeah, so
Is
it's
it?
probably the issue that whatever that media is playing in, whether it's a video or an audio
It's
file,
a video.
it's a video. So there's
Mhm.
probably an app that opens up at that point when you press enter on the link or you double tap the link. It might be worth it. At least if you're doing it in Windows, you could do JAWS key letter T to find out what the title of the window is, because that will tell you what it's playing in. And I wonder if the application that you're playing in has its own mute button, maybe for audio playback, perhaps,
Oh
rather
yeah, and
like you do on YouTube. So
it's
it
a
might be worth
YouTube
exploring the app
video.
a little bit. Yeah,
It's a
that's the only thing
YouTube
I could think
video
of.
is what it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah. Do we know the keystroke to like unmute on a YouTube video? Is it?
Not off the top of my head now, but there probably is a
There might
quick
be,
key
yeah.
shortcut you can.
There's
Yeah,
usually a
look.
button, isn't there? If you're doing it on a
Yeah.
PC, it's just B for I think on most screen readers B until you hear the unmute button. But that's a good point. There could be an actual keystroke to unmute.
It's just M by the looks of it. When the video's playing,
Oh,
you just press M, which is M for mute. That will toggle mute on or off. So maybe that'll be worth a try. Just literally pressing M when it's supposed to be playing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll try that.
and
Thanks.
just very quickly, Terry, I was wondering, is it muted on every? Have you tried playing on another device?
I've just tried with my iPhone and
your
with
iPhone,
my
okay.
laptop.
Okay, that's muted on both. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
It's weird that it's muted on both, to be fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is strange.
Yeah, if you can see that it's playing and the time's going, then it's got to be something audio related. So I'd probably suspect that it's muted. If not, failing that, it might be some weird like sound card thing that's going on. We probably have to have a deeper look into it, but it only affects that link, right? It's you can,
Yes.
Can you go onto YouTube and play videos, like other videos, without it being muted? Correct. You can.
It's I can easily. Yep.
Oh, that's weird then. Yeah. So I'll try that, and then you're welcome to like give us a shout. Or where are you based in USA?
I'm in just north of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Chicago,
I guess you've
Illinois.
got your local. I mean, you can email me or put my email in the chat, or you can contact your local reseller, whoever handles your support for JAWS, and I'm sure they can look at it. If not, but like I said, you're welcome to email me.
All right.
Do some
Thank
sort of
you.
remote support session if needed.
Yeah.
Share
Okay.
your screen and whatnot.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, thanks, Terry, and good to talk to you.
Yes, you too.
Okay, just going to go back to a few more raised hands. We have about 10 minutes left because the tech support guys are hugely busy. So I'm going to make sure that we don't keep people longer than we should. So we're going to go to Adele. So Adele, you should be able to unmute yourself. And we'd love to hear your question.
Hello, buongiorno a tutti.
Hello.
My question is written.
Your question is?
Written. I chatted a question about some problems. It's written. Escrito.
Oh,
Yeah.
like it's in the chat. You know.
It's in the chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
I just I'm glad you put your hand up though, Adele, because I couldn't quite understand what you were getting at, but I can read it out if that helps.
Hand now lowered. Green hand button to activate. Press space.
Okay. Upon using, so Adele's saying, upon using a braille display, I inf out that the cursor continues to move at the point at which the glitch has begun and the screen reader freezes. It's how to avoid that.
Oui, c'est ça means that's right in French. Oui, c'est ça. Un peu ça.
Yeah, and you also were saying that Jaws is bogging, which is a
Oui,
good
c'est ça,
term.
il gèle, il jogging.
When you try to read an
Oui, c'est
email, it's
ça.
got a table included, which sounds similar to
Sometimes.
Harry's
Yeah,
issue,
I think
yeah?
that's the same issue. I think the cursor one, I think you're saying, Adele, that the cursor is present when you're reading documents. I think that's what I'm translating, that, or what I'm understanding, that the cursor is interfering in your Braille reading.
Non, non,
And there is a way to turn off the cursor in the JAWS Braille settings, to turn off the cursor being visible, rather. So you can make it blinking, or you can have it turned off. Of course, the issue with turning it off then is that if you are going to be editing, you won't see it. So it mightn't be something you want to do all the time. So I hope that helps, Adele, and thank you for your question. And I don't believe I have any more raised hands.
No, but I have chat.
Oh, sorry, Sharon. Let's go to chat.
No,
Yes.
it's okay.
How did I forget
Just thought
chat?
I'd continue. But Lana says very interesting point that when you're using the native YouTube commands, you want to make sure you've got the virtual cursor off.
Yes, that's a great point.
Which is a great point. Yeah. So insert Z to switch off the virtual cursor, so you can use M for mute or K for play. K for play, like that. And also, Julie had a good resolution for Harry with the emails that are kind of freezing. She says, just grit your teeth and count to 10, which is a good advice for anything on the computer. Just go make a cup of tea, come back.
Sometimes the
Then ring
non-technical,
Sight and Sound support.
yeah, sometimes the non-technical help is the best. Yeah, it's a good point. I have seen Harry's the issue Harry mentioned. Definitely, I've seen that too, and I know a lot of other JAWS users who've seen it in newsletter type emails. It's whatever way, just Outlook opens them and JAWS is trying to process them. So yeah, those things are definitely pop up a lot. Okay, we are a little more than 10 minutes away from the end of the session. Last chance for anybody who wants to put their hand up, who wants to ask a question. If you have a burning question, thanks to everybody who has sent in questions today. I think these sessions are always interesting because we never know what's going to come up. And what's also interesting about these sessions is that I think all of us come away from these sessions having learned something. And that's really appreciated, and we appreciate everybody for that. Harry's put his hand up, so we'll bring you in, Harry. So you should be hopefully able.
Can
We
you
have
hear
you,
me?
Harry. Yep.
Great. Sorry, I didn't want to be greedy and keep talking earlier, so thank you for bringing me back. I suddenly noticed quite recently in my Outlook calendar, and it's not specifically a JAWS question, but the time slots used to be 30-minute slots. So if you wanted to put something in an Outlook calendar, you'd go to 1500 and you'd have 1500 to 1530. Suddenly it seems to be in 6-minute increments. And I don't understand. I mean, I can change it manually, but it just seems a bit weird. Has anyone else had anything like that?
I assume you're in day view, Harry, are you?
Yeah. I better check that, but yes.
It's always 30 minutes for me. I mean, there is a thing in the Outlook calendar options, I do believe, where you can specify that what the chunks of time are, but I've never seen it at 6 minutes. I would have thought 30 minutes or an hour.
You couldn't even drink a pint in 6 minutes.
Depends
That's
how
not
thirsty you are.
reasonable.
She was Irish, so
Yeah, so am I. But
Stop
that's
there you go.
that's why I use the phrase. Okay, I'll have a look at. So options, you reckon?
Yeah.
On
Also,
the Outlook options, there's hundreds of them. That's the only thing is trying to
yeah.
find where it all is, but there will be something.
Alt and F,
Oh,
Alt and F and T, and then
Alt
down
F2.
arrow there's categories, and I think the calendar has a category of its own. But yeah,
Okay.
Tristram is right. There are so many things in
Maybe
there.
I should just ring Microsoft to be my eyes and let them fix it. It just feels a bit weird.
There is a thing in, like they mentioned Outlook options, then calendar. Like if you just go into calendar and then options, it'll take you to the right view. And
Okay.
there's one in there,
Yeah.
default duration for new appointments and meetings. I imagine that's it. Mine set to 30 minutes, but
There we
maybe
go.
it's.
So
I don't know.
what was
In the
that?
drop down, I don't see 6 minutes as an option, but maybe you've got a different version or something.
So Alt F and then T and then arrow down to calendar.
Yeah.
It should already be in calendar if you open it from calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, then you would just go to that setting for default duration for new appointments.
Okay, I'll have a go at
Probably
that.
there.
Thank you for that. I just took advantage as no one else had their hand up. So thank you for that. You can shut me up again now.
Thanks, Harry. Appreciate it. Okay. And we do, and look at that. We do have a few hands now, so we'll try and get through these. I want to just bring in Sandy. I will hopefully get your hand by the end of the session, but I just want to give people who haven't had a chance yet to come in. So we'll go to Cy, and then we'll go to David Stevenson, and then we'll go to Sandy, and that should probably wrap it up for today. So Cy, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Hello, thank you so much. I just had a wee quick question, and this has just happened a wee while ago. I'm still using JAWS 23 on my work computer, and it's absolutely stopped me from being able to copy anything off Edge, and I'm not sure why that is.
We know about that one.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a Google problem. Google announced some changes a while back, which stopped yours from being able to actively pick up text out of a browser. Freedom Scientific responded by making some changes in JAWS 25. But since then, that obviously, if you're using an earlier JAWS, you don't get the advantage of that. What I think might happen, because as far as I've been told, Google are actually reversing all the changes that they made that stopped yours from being able to access text. And I think on frame 136 or later, maybe, and probably similar for Edge, you should get your text back soon as your Edge updates again, hopefully. But yeah, you might want to keep an eye on the Edge version and see if it's updating, and just check whether you're getting text back again.
Is it the same issue as JAWS 24 as well? Because
yeah, it would be. Yeah,
it would be. Oh
would
my
be.
gosh.
Yeah, anything 24 and below will have the same problem. So maybe monitor what version of Edge you've got. If you're still having problems, maybe drop us a note through the support email and we can investigate a bit more. My understanding is that it should fix itself eventually.
There's a workaround. You can use Firefox for now, can't you, Tris?
Oh yeah, there's
there's
also something you can do in JAWS that might fix it possibly. Yeah, Firefox would be another alternative in the meantime.
And the workaround is just using JAWS history, is that right?
You could use JAWS history, but that depends on whether you're getting any text out of the browser at all. Are you getting some or just none?
What's that, sorry?
So with are you getting text back? Just a copy and paste is the issue.
Yeah, copy and paste is the issue. Paste is
Oh,
not
right.
the issue as much as copying.
Right. Okay. Yeah, there is a workaround with JAWS which involves you changing a setting in the setting center. So maybe if you drop us a note through the support email, we can send you the steps to fix that. I don't remember exactly what they are off the top of my head, but it's something to do with changing the way JAWS copies back from virtual cursor, but we can send you the instructions for it.
That would be incredible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cy. Yeah, that's definitely a one that has hit a few people. So going to go to David, and then we'll go back to Sandy. So David, you should be able to unmute yourself. I'll just try and send that again because I think Zoom has done something funny. Oh, there you go, David.
Hello there.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. If Harry thought his question was silly, mine's going to be even sillier. The Freedom Scientific podcast, I don't know where it comes in on, because sometimes it comes on when it comes in at the end of the last Wednesday of the month or whenever it is. It sometimes comes through, and I can't always retrieve it if I'm doing something else at the same time. Normally, when I download something, I get it so that it goes to a specific download folder that I have. So what's going on with regard to the Freedom Scientific podcast? 'Cause normally, I can just find something and deal with it.
Does it pop into your message center, David, in JAWS?
I don't know where it goes. It seems to come in. It just seems to come in when I set up the computer on that particular day. And if
Yeah.
I don't deal with it straight away, I lose it.
Yeah. So I think if you go to the JAWS window itself and then go to help, so Alt and H, and go down to message center, you'll see all the messages in there that Freedom Scientific have sent. And you're right, the podcast always goes in there. So every time they put out a new podcast, they send you a message, and the messages will be in there.
Right. Okay. Lovely.
So try in there, and if it doesn't, get back in touch with us.
Okay, we'll do, Stuart.
All right.
Lovely.
Brill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a million. And let's go back to Sandy with her great French and Italian accents. Hi, Sandy.
I'm here, yes.
Yeah.
It's a very quick one. It's firstly an announcement, in case anyone's missed it, that the Meta Ray-Bans in Ireland now also have the look and tell feature.
Oh.
So if you haven't turned it on and updated, hang on. If you haven't updated, update and put on your glasses and give it a go. And then ignore everything it says because it's wrong an awful lot of the time. But it's good fun to play with. People talk about having a tool in their toolbox. I think it's a toy in your toy box. Don't take it too seriously. But it is good to have it. So just thought I'd say.
Thanks for that, Sandy. Lots of people talking about the Meta Ray-Bans. So yeah, great to know about that, and great to know that the look and tell has come over here. Okay, is our raised hands, Sharon? Anything else on chat that you wanted to tell us about?
Just Tavone asking about what type of removable keyboard would you recommend for a Chromebook, but I guess that would be, if you mean a wireless keyboard, it could be any Bluetooth keyboard, probably for a Chromebook.
Yeah. Yeah,
Goodness,
I don't see any.
Yeah, probably Bluetooth.
Just user preference, really, isn't it? As long as it's Bluetooth.
Yeah. You kind of get what you pay for. You know.
Yeah. Whatever's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for attending our tech surgery. They're always great sessions. Thank you to our colleagues Ash Cross and Tristram Llewellyn for your time. We really appreciate you guys because we know the tech support team are very, very busy. And thanks, of course, to Sharon Lyons for keeping us all online in chat. That's it from Webinar Wednesday for this month. We're back in June, on the 4th of June, for another session. So we'll talk to you all then. And thanks a million. Take care.
That's it. Thanks, everyone.